Hi 446ers, this is about ethics, about weeks 4 and 5. And first of all, my assumption is that you're going along reading Gupta's is evidence-based psychiatry ethical, and that you're reading the Blind Spots book, both of which are relevant, not so much because they cover the deeper issues that we do in week 4 about the basic derivation of public health ethics, but because they contextualize what we're going to be doing in week 5. In week 5, we go from the deeper issues on some level to their realization and application in settings that we know, in systems, in organizations, in ourselves. So the texts that you're reading are those two, Gupta and Tenbrunsel and Bazerman. Plus, there's a whole mess of articles, and a lot of these are codes, various professional codes of ethics. And some of them are articles about how ethics lives in organizations. I like to think special treat about this week is that we'll be talking about work that my colleague Dan Swartzman and I have done over the last several years about what we call a values identification audit that an organization's leadership does, that doesn't just say, are we committed to a great mission, and are we great people, and do we expect the highest level of compliance with our ethical obligations, etc. As Bazerman and Tenbrunsel said, that kind of approach is kind of doomed because of ethical fading, because of our bounded ethicality, because of all the structural things that militate against our best expression of that. So instead, what Swartzman and I have done is to work out a model that assumes that within organizations that are trying to make, or that have before them, these highly consequential, we've talked about how forced choices are highly consequential, that have before them this very serious kind of set of decisions to make, and concomitantly have many forces working on them that will derail them if they can. So if I'm a local health department, for example, and I want to decide no more health fairs, it's a waste of money, I've run the numbers and we just can't do it. And then, Joe politician on my county board comes and says, oh, no, you don't. Then that's oh, no, you don't, stop. Then there has to be a pre-thought, as opposed to an ad hoc, structure and process for how to deal with that. The assumption that Swartzman and I have is that there is a range of acceptable ethical responses that we would have. We discover what that range is and what the limits are, what is out of control, through talking through values. Now, there's a lot of literature, some of which you're reading right now, about how organizations, and specifically public health organizations, incorporate values in their work, and are they able to live their values? Well, the model that we suggest provides for some very sharp and sometimes not very popular kinds of discussions that will help everybody in the leadership, for example, and if so desired within the community, understand what we will and won't do. Specifically, a series of questions that at the end of which you determine that we won't do this anymore, and we won't serve this population anymore, or we will not respond in XYZ way to what may seem like a very valid and compelling request, an appeal, a claim on our time and resource. And that there is a range in which we will act, and some of that range on either side may not smell too great to us, but we are committed to being real in the world, and this is our range, and this is what's out of bounds. Now, communicating that to up and down through the organization, getting input on that, understanding what it means to a line person, that you on the in the high office have been part of a process that has set some of that. These are all the complexities of making ethics live within a public health setting. The list of easy virtues, we're committed to quality services and reducing disparities and addressing determinants and making the world better and all of that. That's easy to say. The issue is to what degree, and to what degree are we willing to expend money, capital in that way, reputational capital, ethical capital, and understanding our limits and our challenges is, we think, is the way to go. Ethics is a conversation. Ethics, the reason you'll study codes as well as methods for dealing with ethics in organizations is because codes get you so far, and having the conversations that really make ethics live within an organization, within ourselves, is really the key. I hope you enjoy this week.